Welcome to Empowered to Grow, the podcast. I am your host, Hanan and Basha, the business doctor. Following our conversations with empowered women who woke up one day and consciously claimed, I am more than enough, I am worthy, I am empowered to grow. And along their empowering journey towards realizing their own potential and their quest for growth, they became a beacon of hope and guidance for others. May you also find your inner power to grow. Hello again, everyone, and welcome to our Unchartered Discussions episode of Empowered to Grow podcast. I am your host, Hanan and Basha, and we are still continuing the conversation with the very empowering Shahira Hemeda, the founder of Noor. Hi, Shahira.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. So we spoke about your business and the app, and that it focuses on meditation and generally wellness, like kind of, your wellness on so many facets. But I want to kind of take a couple of steps back and address meditation in itself. Now, there are a lot of, as you were saying, there's a lot of stigma, a lot of misconceptions about meditation. It's only for monks and, you do it in temples or Buddhists, or it needs hours, and what's the benefit of it, and it's about just sitting quietly and closing your eyes and kind of trying to empty your mind, which I know the first time I went through the meditation, I'm like, oh my God, it's not clearing, I'm doing it wrong. The first thing is like, and I actually Googled, am I meditating wrong? Because first my mind was not clearing. Number two, I got so sleepy with the breathing and stuff. I was like, and then the first answer was, that is very normal. I'm like, okay, so I'm on the right track. So let's delve a bit deeper into meditation, the concept, the benefits, and then we can talk a bit more about your business as Noor and how it is, your attempt at changing the narrative.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of interesting topics are there. Of course, we can start with the misconception around meditation. A lot of people picture a young woman sitting on a yoga mat, that eats only organic food and whatnot, meditating.
And only drinks green shakes and, has all the time in the world.
And has all the time in the world, exactly. Or maybe Buddhist monk sitting, cross-legged. So essentially, when you type what are the benefits of meditation on Google, like you said, you'll find a list of, it reduces stress, it improves your sleep and lowers your heart rate and all of that. But essentially, meditation does much more than that. Meditation is mental growth. We spend a lot of our lives training to be physically stronger, to be knowledgeable, to increase our material wealth. But the concept of actual mental training is barely entertained in today's society. In school, we learn, and that is essential, of course, but we are not really taught how to improve the mental processes in our brains. How long does it take you to let go of an emotion when you're upset? At what age are we taught to have better conversations with ourselves? And that is essentially really just mental growth. Think of it as going to the gym. You go to the gym to work out, and the first day when you're carrying weights, you can barely carry the weight. You go back the next day, and so forth, and you're carrying heavier and heavier and heavier. And that is what meditation is. You're essentially training your brain and your mind to essentially regulate your emotions. And yes, it does reduce stress. It does improve your sleep, but it also improves your relationships. It makes you a better version of yourself in general. It's an emotional connection to both your body and to your mind. And the essence, to really reap the benefits of meditation, you really have to set a consistent practice. It's not something that you do once a week and then bam. Although there's
I don't see the impact of it.
And I don't see the impact of it. Essentially, you would need to do it, a few weeks at a time. There is research today, as I was saying, that does prove that even 5 minutes of meditation, maybe once a week, will make you feel calmer. But if you want to reap the benefits of meditation and become mentally stronger and be able to deal with things in a much, kind of efficient way, that's you need to be doing it in a consistent basis.
And also meditation, the part of it where you, as you were saying, you're practicing more, is something I've learned personally that I have not also paid it enough attention to. It's your breathing. because we're used to the shallow breathing. We're used to trying to talk as fast as possible to get our point across before getting interjected, versus you learning how to breathe. And breathing in itself has an impact on your biology. It does improve your biology. And as you were saying, like even duration wise, it doesn't need to, definitely not in the hours, because again, the gurus speak, like, of course, Robin Sharma speaks of the 5 a.m. club. So you need to wake up before the sun, and, and Deepak Chopra and everything is like before the sun, and you do the 2-3 hours in the morning. But no, anything for as little, I think Headspace has meditations that are 3 minutes long. So anything from 3 minutes, you're making an impact, as long as you build it as a habit. And habits are just something that you do consistently, that you don't have to think about. And I remember with one of my clients, when I first started the health coaching, it was like, she's like, no, I don't have time. And of course we say that a lot. I don't have time. I don't have time for anything. She's a mother of 2, full-time employee, busy life, expat. So you get a lot of extra responsibilities and no support. And I'm like, okay, let's do 1 minute. She's like, what? And I literally just, in our session, I just put my timer on. I'm like, we're going to breathe. And I taught her the Dr. Andrew Weil breathing, the 4-7-8. And I'm like, let's just breathe for a minute. And she's like, okay. So she did it. She's like, okay. I'm like, imagine just doing this 3 minutes. I expect you from the minute you put your kids, send them off to school, before you get in your car to go to work yourself, 3 minutes. That's all I want.
Yeah.
And it was huge for her, because she started realizing at that point in time that I have control over the little time that I have in my power.
Absolutely. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. Actually, they say the busier you are, the more you need to meditate. It's those who are specifically busy and don't have time to meditate that need to be meditating. Sure. And sometimes I also give the analogy, like, we plug in our phones and our computers and everything to charge on a daily basis. But when do you actually plug yourself in and charge yourself? You really need to be able to have that moment of solitude with yourself, whether it's 1 minute, 5 minutes, or 15 minutes on a daily basis, to really recenter yourself and then, attack the day. And I think a lot of people get intimidated, like you said, by, Sharma's policies of 5 a.m. or Deepak Chopra's 5 a.m., before the sun rises. And of course, yes, the benefits of if you want to reap the full benefits of meditation, yes, then do it with sunrise or sunset. But I always tell people, don't follow the rules at 100%. Just do what you can whenever you can. So it should become like brushing your teeth in the morning as a routine. Before you brush your teeth, maybe in bed already, instead of looking and scrolling at your emails, just take 3 minutes, 5 minutes, and do box breathing or 4-7-8 breathing, or anything really. It's just to give yourself that 3 minutes, and it makes a massive difference over time in your daily life.
That's true. And speaking of mobiles, please don't switch on your mobile in bed. That's one of the first things I was like, yep, that was my first learnings. I'm like, my mobile it's always on airplane mode when I go to bed, which means I get no notifications whatsoever. Whatever the emergency is, I can't deal with it right now. I'll deal with it in the morning. And it was like, I don't switch on my mobile at least until I'm done. I got up, I had my coffee, or I'm making my coffee. And then it's like, okay, I'm not going to look at it until after that meditation part. So I just put it on to get on YouTube to get, to my meditation affirmations. And that is it. And it is a huge difference. It makes a huge difference in your life, just that you're not starting your day being reactive. And I think that's the whole point of what you're talking about, what your business is built around, is how do you, I don't think we really take control, but how are we more conscious and mindful in our everyday life?
Yes, absolutely. I think, when you wake up in the morning, the first signals that you're sending to your brain are stress signals if you're scrolling on Instagram or if you're reading your emails. Whereas if you start your day with a little meditation, you brush your teeth, you have your coffee, and obviously if you have kids, you're tending to your kids or to your family, and then you start your day, it just changes your day entirely. And it's taking control, like you said, over your time and your mind as well. And eventually some of the benefits that you'll see over time is the thoughts that you have. They're not as self-sabotaging. Yes. You're not working based out of fear. Yes. You're not, it's all of these kind of negative thoughts that really drag you down in your business, in your relationships. that start to diminish, and you feel more and more empowered day on day.
Which in essence, if we're talking about our biology, that's our sympathetic nervous system versus our parasympathetic nervous system. And for those who don't know, sympathetic nervous system is your fight or flight mode. And chronic stress keeps that on all the time. I mean, you get it with acute stress and that's okay. But acute stress means, you know, you have a major presentation, you nearly got in a car accident. That's acute stress, and that's okay. And that's where your sympathetic nervous system gets activated and you get the adrenaline and the cortisol. And these are all meant to protect you. But when we are always, as you're saying, if we're starting our day always and we're being triggered and stressed out all the time, then that's chronic stress. And you don't get to switch off or switch into your parasympathetic nervous system, which is your relax and digest. This is literally where your body just, you kind of, you know, your functions are all right. And I know that with chronic stress, I just actually had a session. I was giving a session about that just because I'm a health coach, but I love delving deeper into these topics. But more importantly, looking at it from the entrepreneurial wellness and corporate employee wellness as well. Excuse me. And I was saying that stress, chronic stress, literally puts your functions on hold, your other functions in your body, because it's waiting for you to be attacked. So your digestive system is not functioning properly. Your reproductive system is not functioning properly. Your, you know, everyone who complains of insomnia and complains of, you know, the rage and the headaches and all of these pains and aches and inflammation, these are all symptoms that you've got chronic stress. And this is why it's very important to talk in your business in talking about how do you regulate your functions again through meditation.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, research shows that basically when people think that when you sleep, that's when you're resting. But meditation is the practice, the only practice aside from sleep, because when you're sleeping, you're still in a fight or flight mode in a sense, because over the years, our bodies are functioned to always be protective in a fight or flight mode. Right. So if at the time the cavemen were going to be attacked by a tiger, your body, even when you're sleeping, is still in the fight or flight mode. But when you're actually meditating, that's when you're telling your body, I'm in a safe space right now. And it actually turns off from the fight or flight mode. And you can actually relax and be able to manage the thoughts, or manage is not the right word, deal with the thoughts. The thing is, meditation doesn't change the outside of your life, the outcomes of your life. Things are going to be happening all the time, and that's not going to change. But what changes is the way you deal with things and the perspective that you have of what is happening in your life. And I think that is the game changer. No external activities are going to change in your life, but your mindset and your perspective and the way you deal with it and the way you regulate the emotions is what is going to change in your life.
That is it. That's the bottom line of it. And I love the fact that you said you don't try to control your thoughts, because that was one of the things that, you know, for me was a trigger. I was like, oh my God, I'm doing it wrong. I can't empty my brain. But in essence, you know, practicing a bit more, I've learned that it's okay to have thoughts going in. It's just that by practice as well, you learn to let them flow and just let them go out, rather than get stuck inside of you and you obsess over, oh my God, and my schedule today, and my kid did this, or my husband did that. And, you know, and you just stay in your head. It's allowing you to react differently.
Absolutely. I mean, you're never going to stop thinking, right? People think that when you're sitting down and you're meditating, you're going to stop thinking. That's not going to happen. Even if you become an advanced meditator, you will never stop thinking. But what meditation does is it builds the witness side, makes it stronger. So when you're sitting down, you're meditating, either you're focusing on your breathing, or let's say on a mantra, and you're repeating the mantra. Let's say the mantra is 1, and you're saying 1, 1, 1. A few seconds later, your mind is going to go somewhere else. What are we having for dinner? Is my kid asleep or is he not? And the whole point of meditation is, as soon as you see your mind drift away, you notice where it's gone. You decide whether you want to deal with that thought or not. And then you bring it back essentially to your breathing or to your mantra. Ideally, when you're a beginner, you don't decide whether you're dealing with it or not. You just realize that it went somewhere. You realize that it's stressed, that thought is stressing you out. And then you bring it back gently into your practice. And that is how you really mentally train your brain. That is basically it. That's how you train your brain to focus on one thing only, and that is your breathing or your mantra or whatever your practice is given to you by your teacher or the app. And that is how you mentally train. The same way you go to the gym, you physically train. That is how you mentally train your brain to be focused on one thing only. And then eventually you start noticing that there's a gap that grows, a gap of silence that grows between your thought and your meditation. So I'm repeating the mantra 1, 1, 1. You realize that your thought is gone away. You bring it back to 1. You're saying 1, 1, 1. And then you realize that there's a gap of silence of like maybe 3 seconds at first, 4 seconds. That is the magic moment before it starts thinking about something else again. And over time, with consistent practice, that thought, that silence grows from 3 minutes to 4 minutes, not I would say maybe a minute, let's say. That pause of silence is where you're really regenerating. That's when you're in the not flight or flight mode. That's when you're really calm, and that's when you're really recharging yourself. And that silence will start very small with few seconds, and then it will grow and grow and grow. And that's where you want it to mentally train.
Exactly. Well, let's delve into Noor a bit more. The app. It's not just about meditation. There's a bigger picture here, and there are more kind of, I want to say, channels into it. Talk a bit more about what Noor can support people with, especially those that, you know, and yes, I know it's focused mostly in the Arab world or the MENA region. So those that are embarking on their journey, how can they utilize Noor in the best way possible?
So Noor essentially is a mindfulness and meditation app, but the aim is to make it the go-to wellness app in general for the region. Already in the app, we have obviously, beginner meditation sessions, 21-day meditation sessions, but we also have what we call passive listening. So the meditation sessions are the actual practice of meditation, and that's what we call active listening. And there's the passive listening, which is, as mentioned before, I think in a previous podcast, you'll find some poetry from Rumi or from Khalil Gibran or from other poets. That is meant to inspire you. So you can listen to those type of sessions when you're walking or driving or, doing the dishes. And it's for motivation and inspiration. You'll also find little short life coaching boosts. And so that is for people who are not 100% sure that they're ready to sit down in silence and a little bit intimidated by it. And you listen to those sessions and it kind of gradually pulls you into, okay, I'm ready now to, sit down and kind of start a breathing practice or whatnot. So I would say for those who are a little bit intimidated by meditation, that's definitely the best way to start it. Set a timer on your phone and do it every day. Start with 2 minutes, 3 minutes. We have sessions on there that are 2 to 3 minutes, and then gradually build your practice. Another good way to do it is to start a series. So we have the series of 7 days, we have series of 14 days, we have series of 21 days. It's actually proven that you build a habit in 21 days. So if you actually do the 21 days, essentially on day 22 or 23, you'll be looking to do it on your own.
Yeah.
And so that's what I would definitely recommend. Now, Noor essentially is a B2C, so it's for all users who speak Arabic in different dialects. But we also are branching out to corporations, for schools and universities. That's
amazing.
Institutions, essentially. So we can offer workshops, but as well as subsidizing the app itself. A big focus, of course, is schools and universities. The stress levels that students go through are pretty high. So I think it's really essential for us to grow within that aspect and offer, a reduced price for students in order to be able to set this routine and grow with it.
Yeah, and picking up the habits at such a young age is very important, because then it becomes part of their life. I know I have Headspace, and I used to put my son, like, kind of just to calm him down before bedtime, because he tends to be extra active. It's like, okay, come 3 minutes. Of course, there was a time, we started when he was 9 or 10 years old. So there was a time where he was just like, I didn't do my meditation today, which just meant he delayed his bedtime. But I know that, in his school as well, they talk about it, and they're learning how to literally regulate themselves when they feel like they're a bit worked up, to step out take a breather, come back in. And this is very essential. As you were saying, it's about stress levels related to exams, schoolwork, social life in school and in university. And that's something that really stresses a lot of people out. But picking up the habit, it's like brushing your teeth in the morning or making your coffee. It's just something that you will do. For me now, when there are days where I have to move in the morning or I overslept a little bit or whatever it is, and I don't do my 20 minutes in the morning, it's just like, okay, I need to take, and I make the time for it later in the day, just because I know that this grounds me. And I think the concept of grounding, and I think this is what Noor is about. It's about learning how to ground yourself in your very busy life.
Yes, in learning how to center yourself, how to ground yourself. Well, essentially our slogan is, we help you find your inner light. Noor, obviously means light. Could be also interpreted as divine light. And the idea is that we help you find your inner light. We all are born with inner light inside of us. We just stifle it or, kind of turn it off after a certain time. Losing consciousness and awareness on a daily basis with life and stress and so on and so forth. And the idea is to find that light. It's to rediscover it. It's always there. And it's just waiting for you to, open it up and be reignited. And for that, you need to give yourself the space and the time to really just sit down and breathe or just practice.
Exactly.
Yes.
I love that. Well, I can't end with you before going back to the quote from our first episode, because we said we're going to dig it up. So you dug it up. So let's end with that quote.
I apologize for the non-articulate way that I described it last time. So I did find it. And the quote is, "Earn your success based on service to others, not at the expense of others." And it's by H. Jackson Brown Jr., who's an American author. And I find that to be really beautiful and very relevant for the newer generations who are coming up and wanting to be more involved in social impact and earning their success really on service to others.
Yeah. And that more or less also is the essence of what Ikigai is about, which is the Japanese concept of one's purpose. And it's that intersection of, finding your purpose in service to others. And of course, getting paid for it, that's okay. But, finding it from that perspective. And this is why I love the concept of social entrepreneurship, which in essence is that it's doing a business, but it is to serve others. Well, Shahira, thank you so much for serving others through Noor. And for finding the gap and for, putting in all the effort to fill the gap as much as you can and bringing people in connection with their light.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. My pleasure.
It's absolute pleasure. Well, we hope that you find your inner light. And if you feel that it's been dimmed out a little bit or stifled in any way, we hope that you would give yourself permission to take a break on a daily basis, 3 minutes, not more. And then you get to decide how long you want to go and find your inner light. As always, we wish you love, abundance, and prosperity. And I'll see you next time. Bye for now. Thank you for listening to the Empowered to Grow podcast. For further engagement with a tribe of empowered women, join my Facebook group, Empowered to Grow, or visit my website, www.hananalbasha.com. I'll catch you on the next episode. And until then, know that empowered you empowers others. Love, abundance, and prosperity to you all.